Cheers, guys, and welcome to Uncle Scott's Pancast Podcast. If you enjoy talking food and drink and cookware and nice kitchen stuff, welcome home. This is the place for you. In the old Pancast today, we've got a lot going on. We are going to go through some feedback and comments on steaks and this Demeyere carbon steel steak pan review that I put up. We're going to answer a big question. Which is the best frying pan to get if you're going to start with your first serious frying pan? Kind of a philosophical question there. We're going to talk a little bit about chickpeas, a wine chiller that I have, a super Gou Japanese chef's knife, and more. Let's jump in and get started. Right here at the top, I want to remind everybody that the Black Friday shopping season is coming up, and in what has become kind of an almost annual tradition, there is going to be a big carbon steel sale with Uncle Scott's Kitchen in Demeyere. That is coming, and if you want the best deal on Demeyere carbon steel cookware for the Black Friday holiday shopping season, make sure you are signed up, make sure your notifications are turned on. Also, I've got a newsletter sign up. I've never actually sent out a newsletter, but I am taking names on UncleScottsKitchen.com, and I will blast out all the information once the sale is ready to go. It is coming soon, so make sure you are signed up. And let's use that as a segue into talking about this guy. This is a Demeyere carbon steel dedicated steak pan, and I did a review of this pan and got a lot of feedback about that review, and not just about the pan but about steaks in general. So let's jump into some of that. Okay, a lot of the feedback I got regarding the pan is some version of, do you really need one? Let's see, Jen Astrup 1940 says, just go stainless steel. And that is true. You can cook a nice steak in a stainless steel pan if you want to. I do prefer carbon steel for cooking steaks, but you can definitely go stainless. Wober 777 says his dedicated steak pan is a Weber Genesis grill. And I do agree with this here too. I enjoy cooking outside. It's just here in Utah, there are certain times of year you don't want to do it. If it's 110 degrees outside, standing over a hot grill, not very pleasant. Also in the wintertime, if there are 2 feet of snow on the back deck and my wife hasn't gotten around to shoveling that off yet, I don't want to stand in the snow and cook a steak on the grill. So lots of the time, lots of parts of the year, I really do enjoy cooking steaks indoors, and I really like the carbon steel for that. Let's see, Visit Cart said it looks delicious, and she asked if I see any serious difference between this kind of pan and a traditional smooth carbon steel pan. Fred Miller 6038 says it was a silly review without a comparison to a regular Mineral B carbon steel pan. Okay, now I suspect some people here have internet ADHD and just can't watch something. They have to click around. If you watch the entire video, I did do a side-by-side comparison, split screen, with a regular series Mineral B on one side and the carbon steel steak pan on the other. And honestly, I can't tell a whole lot of difference between, or any difference really, between the regular carbon steel and the dedicated steak pan. So why would anybody want a dedicated steak pan? It's mainly just if you like to specialize. If you're into carbon steel and maybe you start out with a jack of all trades pan, something like this, and then you kind of want to get more specialized pans, you might want to get an omelet pan, something like this, and keep the seasoning perfect and mirror-like and jet black. And I use that only for eggs. And then you get a different pan for searing your proteins, for browning proteins. It's a lot harder on the seasoning. And if you got an egg pan and cook a steak in it, you're going to have to do some touch-up and maintenance to that egg pan. So if you want to specialize, then I think it does have a place. If you're happy with one jack of all trades carbon steel pan, not going to be necessary. Let's raise the stakes here just a little bit, talking about the steaks I cooked in the video. Mixed bag here. And let's see, Tony D 984 said my steak looks completely raw in the middle. Hep Jeff says, wow, you cook those steaks perfectly. And here it illustrates a little bit about cooking steaks. You can never really make everybody happy. Steaks are very individualized food. Some people like them well done. Some people like them rare, almost completely raw. I know growing up, my family was I call it a shoe leather steak, well done family. I remember Mom would get the sirloins and put them on that roasting pan for the oven and get them right up under the broiler pan, and those things were really well done. Let's just say I call them shoe leather, but these days I like my steaks medium rare. Those tenderloins that I cooked in the video, those were done exactly the way I like those. Those turned out really nicely. The New York strip I cooked maybe just a couple of minutes longer than I wanted to, but that's okay, because if a steak is ever a little bit overdone, that's the way I ate every steak growing up, and it kind of reminds me of childhood. Let's see, Greg Grin Pop asked why I don't rest the steaks. If I'm cooking a steak for a video, and this is kind of what happened with that New York strip, usually I'm messing with cameras and lights and trying to keep my kids out of the kitchen, and my wife might be asking me to do something. So it's kind of a lot of moving pieces there anyway. And I take the pan to the oven, and then when it's time to bring the pan out, I get the camera going, bring the pan out, set it on the stovetop. Then I turn around and grab the camera and try to get a close-up of the steak, and try to get some pictures and video of the steak right when it comes out, because it's sizzling nicely. It makes a really nice video presentation, I think. I've run into some trouble though. Sometimes if it takes a little bit too long, that steak ends up staying in the pan an extra minute or two, so the pan is really hot and it continues cooking maybe a minute or so longer than I truly like that one. And along those lines, John Shalomskis, I don't know how you pronounce it, said that after I pulled the pan out of the oven in that video, I did not cover the handle with a towel. That is true, and that is one of the mistakes I make repeatedly, and it has to do with making a video. As I just mentioned, I'm messing with cameras and lights and trying to get footage, and repeatedly I have done this. I take all the pictures, all the video, and I turn around and I grab the handle, and probably 4 times in cooking videos I've had to edit out a scream or curse word from grabbing a hot handle. So I try to remember, but sometimes that doesn't make the best video presentation for a steak right out of the oven either. So let's see. Also, I got some comments on steak presses. Done several videos lately, and in one of the videos, one of the steaks had a spot where the Maillard reaction and the browning, it was a little gray, where it was a nice crust everywhere else. And several people, including Jose Gomez, VR6MI, said I ought to use a steak press to make good contact with the pan, make the meat have good contact. I'm still not sure about this. I tried it with these guys here, and I think that it did okay, and it maybe did get a little bit more even browning on these guys, I have to say. But I can also get that level of browning if I pay attention and move a steak around, and I'm not sure if that steak weight, if it presses down on the meat too much, does it squeeze out juices? Is the meat going to be kind of dry and tough because it was smashed down? I'm not sure yet. What do you guys think? Do you guys use steak presses or not? That is the topic of the latest poll. Let's see, Jules6910 says, I'm really missing the golf claps. Please bring them back ASAP. Here you go. Be careful what you ask for. Lily T5855 says, I thought the applause track was kind of annoying at first, but it has grown on me over the months I've been a subscriber. It feels like a dad joke thing, which is kind of comforting. I think she is on to something there. Of course, not everyone is a fan. MC Little 88 under one of the videos says, I couldn't get past your general shittiness to finish this. And I will indeed try to be much more specific in my shittiness in the future. Okay, the big question we're going to answer here. First serious pan. Mike McCrae 9420 wrote in and says, hey, great channel. I'm looking at getting my first serious pan. So congratulations there. He's going to be doing some cooking for a family of 4 and wondering what I would suggest. Okay, so I am just imputing this here, but it sounds like Mike is getting ready to do some real deal cooking and learning some cooking skills and moving up here to real deal cookware. And cooking for a family of 4, I'm going to assume here a 12 or 12.5 inch frying pan, and that would be roughly 32 centimeters in the incomprehensible metric system. He didn't mention a specific material here, but what I'm going to say is for your first real deal frying pan, look at a stainless steel frying pan. They are really great at a wide variety of tasks. They're not perfect at everything. They're not the best at everything, but for versatility, you can't beat the stainless steel. You can cook a steak in stainless steel. You can cook delicate eggs at lower temperature. You can build a fond. You can reduce wine sauces. You can use acidic ingredients. You can cook tomatoes in them. They can generally go stovetop to oven. Very, very versatile pans. And Mike didn't mention a specific price range. So what I thought I'd do here is just kind of go through some of my recommended pans at different price ranges. And these are the ones I would look at. And these are kind of heirloom, long-term, 20-year investment type pans here. First, if you got $400 and up for a good frying pan, stainless steel frying pan, I would go with the Falk copper. Real deal copper, 2.5 millimeters thick, heavy, fantastic cooking performance. It's expensive though, but I would go with the Falk if you got $400. Now the Falk copper would not work well on induction. If you had induction and were in that price range for a frying pan, I would go with that Falk copper core. So you got stainless steel on the bottom, copper in the middle, stainless steel cooking surface if you have induction. Now in the $300 range, I like the Demeyere Proline Atlantis. Very thick, got an aluminum core, fantastic frying pan, huge capacity, tremendous quality. And I'm not sure who said this, but someone said this, that this much aluminum in a pan is about as close as you can get to copper without actually being copper in terms of heat transfer. Now in that $200 price range, this is actually a fun price range because there are lots of good pans in this price range and a lot of competition, and you can occasionally find great deals on great frying pans in this price range. I would look for something like an All-Clad copper core, 5 plies. You got copper in the middle. An All-Clad D5. Those are usually a little bit less than 200. That's a fantastic frying pan. And in this price range as well, you also might take a look at the Demeyere Affinity 5-ply stainless steel, and also those Mauviels. Is it M Cooks or M Steels 5 plies? Those are really nice pans in this price range. If you get down below 150, I would look at something like an All-Clad D3, another fantastic frying pan. It really just depends on your budget, but there are lots of good choices for fantastic frying pans at a variety of different price points. We'll follow up to that is beyond that first pan. We often talk of the 3-pan strategy around here, and that's if you can have 3 frying pans, you can darn near cook anything you need to cook in a frying pan if you have a good stainless steel, a good cast iron, and a good carbon steel. And here, if we want to go down this rabbit hole just a little bit, for the cast irons, you can't beat a Lodge 12-inch cast iron for value, for performance. Probably the greatest value in cookware, I would say. You can get fancier ones if you like, if money is no object. I think the Smithies are nice. And then for carbon steels, you got Lodges, you got Matfers, you got Mauviels. Those are great. And I also like the Demeyers, of course. Demeyere is my favorite, top to bottom. They got a fantastic lineup with the Mineral Bs and Mineral B Pros. And also the Smithey, if you just want one piece of kind of functional art, I believe they call it. I think that farmhouse Smithey carbon steel for one single pan that is a conversation piece and works well. I like that Smithey farmhouse skillet as well. But welcome to the world of real deal cookware, and I hope that gets you started on the right path. Let's see, chickpeas. I put up a recipe for air fryer chickpeas. And there may be a language barrier here, but Jax in German, 7299, wrote in and asked, can you also use garbanzo beans instead? Here, chickpeas and garbanzo beans are the exact same thing. And another little language thing here, if you make Italian recipes, if you make anything with chickpeas in an Italian soup, zuppa di ceci. Ceci are chickpeas as well. So chickpeas, garbanzos, and ceci are the same thing. Let's see, David J. Lane, 6103, wrote in and asked about the Super Gou knife that I showed. It's been several pancasts ago. I've had this thing probably at least 6 months now, and asked if I like it and is it worth the money. Heck yeah, it is worth the money. This thing was expensive. I can't remember what I paid for this. I think $300 or so, made in Japan, a ton of layers. And it's got that SG2 steel. This is a Kiritsuke shape, Japanese chef's knife. And what I've found is when I get something like this, at first, I'm really worried about it. I do a lot of research online and I kind of agonize over it. Oh, is it too expensive? Should I get it? And then I kind of convince myself I have to have it. And then I get it. And then I wonder, well, did I overspend? How's it going? And then I start using it. And then this has become my go-to knife. So when I reach for a knife in the knife block, this is the first one I pull out. So I really do enjoy the Yaxle. Now there are other Japanese knives out there, and this is the only big Japanese chef's knife I've used. So I don't know if this one is better or worse than the others. I will say I really do like this one though, and I want to get more. Now, unlike me, this one has a little flatter belly than a Western style chef's knife, so it's not quite as good for rocking cuts, but I do like this angled pointed tip there, and super sharp. You get it sharp and it stays sharp, and it's just a fantastic knife. Very good balance. And is it worth the money? At first I was worried about it, but now I think it was worth every penny. I haven't checked these recently since the tariffs kicked in, so I'm sure they're a little bit more expensive than when I bought it, but I have really, really, really enjoyed mine. Let's see, Sherry Verdell 8285 wrote in about my wine chiller. She said, wait, is that an electric wine chiller you put your wine in? Which one is it, and is it decent? That is a Sharper Image wine chiller, and I think Sharper Image is defunct these days. Remember, they used to have the catalogs on the airplanes. You see all kinds of crazy stuff. My sister gave it to me. It was a gift. I've probably had it 10 or 15 years, and at first I thought, well, this is kind of gimmicky. I don't know if I'm going to use this or not. Then I started using it, and I use it all the time. Every time I have a bottle of wine, I stick it in there. And I tried to show this in the video, but one guy wrote in and told me about this. There's something with polarity of the LED lights or something with the camera. Anyway, you can't see the screen on there. But what you can do is put a bottle of wine in there, and you just select. You can go by country or specific type. So for example, a Cabernet, a California Cabernet, you can go USA, California, Red, Cabernet Sauvignon, and it will dial it in. I think it wanted 63 degrees for that. Some of the Chiantis I've put in, they want to be in the 50s, and that thing has a chiller. It will take it to the specific temperature for that particular varietal. And it's really nice. So if you get a Barolo from Italy or a white wine from France or something from Australia, etc., you can just dial in the exact wine, and it makes it the perfect temperature. Now the downside for people like me is it only holds one bottle. But if you are on your game and take that first bottle out and get a second one going in there while you start on the first, it actually works fairly well. So I like the Sharper Image. I don't think these are available anymore, and I've not checked online, but I would be surprised if there weren't a reasonable substitute out there, and I will check in on that for a future episode. Now, if you're interested in what I'm pouring, I had a secret sip before the Pancast started with members of the Great Home Cooks Club. If you want to join the membership tier here at Uncle Scott's Kitchen and get access to bonus features and exclusive content and a whole lot of great stuff, make sure you check out Uncle Scott's Great Home Cooks Club today. Now, don't forget to subscribe and turn those notifications on to be notified of that big Demeyere sale that is on the way. Thank you for watching. We'll see you again next time on Uncle Scott's Pancast Podcast.